never figure that out. Kim Choi. Jacob Solomon. Are you a person? Are you a board member? Are you?
I am a person. Just respect.
All right. All right. We have a committee of 16, but there's only 3 of us here, or 4 of us here. Lisa, Gina, and Roger, and myself. We haven't had a committee meeting in forever, and I'm sure the committee is going to be reconstituted now that there's some new community board members. The committee, as I have it, on a list that's 2 years old, and if anybody knows differently, let me know. I am the chair. I'm Tom Burrows. Gina Argent, I'm sorry, Lisa Beaumonte has been the co-chair. She's there in her car. You're seeing the top of her head. There she is. Gina Argento's on the committee, Bogdan Bakarowski, Gina Barros, who is here, Teresa Chanciata, Giovanni D'Amato, Arthur Dibanowski, Moish Indig, Bozina Kaminsky, Yoel Landau, Maria Lianza, Yolo, Maria Vieira. 2 extra people, other people were on the committee, but they're now off the board. Avram Katz and Dana Racklin were on the committee before. So I don't think we're voting on anything tonight. Whoops, another committee member showed up, Maria Vieira. Hi, Maria.
Hey, Tom, sorry, it took me forever to log in.
Okay.
Tom, I showed up also, Gina Argento.
I see ya. I see ya. I have to search through my boxes to see who's here. Let's see. Anybody else that I'm missing? All right. So for the newcomers who just arrived, we have from the 9-4 precinct, Deputy Inspector Fahey is here. From PSA 3, we have Lieutenant Demanda and NCO Aslam and Ramos. From the 9-0, we have the Executive Officer Captain Joe Wernersbach. The fire department, we have Sandra Sanchez, who is Fire Department Community Affairs, and then Tony Herbert, who's the Brooklyn Borough something, or I didn't get the Brooklyn Borough for the Mayor's Community Affairs Office.
Brooklyn Borough Director.
Okay. I knew it was some kind of fancy title, but I didn't get it. Sorry. All right. So it's 20 to 7. So I don't know where the rest of my committee is, but like I said, we haven't met in a while. Gina Barros is on my committee and a number of other committees because she, like I, has no life. But she's also she's the Capital Budget Committee, and I want to hear what's happening. We would like to hear what's happening with our public safety, particularly police and fire. But then if there's particular pressing budget issues floating around out there, we might want to hear about them and then see whether we want to add it to Gina's collection of budget items. Correct, Gina? All right, Gina, we can't hear you.
I think I agree. I think that we should review what to add on to our budget items now. Because at this point we do have one item that's part of the safety committee, and that's the increase for staffing of outreach programs such as mental health, drug abuse, testing for COVID-19, other infectious diseases, and funding was not available at this time, but it is recommended, and it's a preliminary budget. So I believe we could still look at what we can add to the budget statement.
Right, so they came to a budget yesterday, but there's always ways to play. Since Inspector Fahey was the first person here, perhaps she can give us what's happening in the 9-4, what's coming up in the 9-4, and what desperate needs you have. Okay?
Sure. Good evening, everybody. Basically, year to date, the 9-4 is up about almost 40% in index crimes, driven primarily by property crimes, grand larcenies, and burglaries. But we have seen an uncharacteristic spike in robberies as well. A lot of these earlier in the year were attributed to the smoke shops. You have businesses positioning themselves in anticipation of marijuana licenses being issued. So we've seen the conversion of many of these deli and groceries into smoke shops. And as such, we've seen an increase in, robberies surrounding these areas as well. So
How does 1 and 2 go together? You add a bunch of bongs to your window and you get robbed?
Well, I think, the idea is that, there's an understanding that there's cash in these establishments. A lot of them are owned and operated by immigrants. So we did a lot of outreach amongst the smoke shops to ensure that the business owners understood, what was going on, and that we encouraged them to call the police instead of waiting to get robbed if they saw somebody suspicious, because a lot of them had seen suspicious characters. So we just had one recently. We had a spate of them earlier in the year in February, but we had a lot of arrests. The officers in the 9-4, like the 9-0 and PSA 3, all the officers are highly engaged. Our arrests are up almost 111%. So, we are seeing repeat offenders that we're arresting over and over again, especially when it comes to like the pharmacy robberies, the chain store robberies. Many of these people, we have one individual, the 9-4 alone arrested him 13 times in 2022. So, we're not seeing these cases be presented in a timely fashion. We're not seeing any type of outcome that would make it a sufficient deterrent for people not to commit these crimes again.
Now, the converting anticipation of marijuana sales, I don't think the delis are anticipating to be selling marijuana.
We have some intel that, they may actually be selling now with the vape pens and things like that. Anything that we get, we work in conjunction with narcotics, but as, possession is legal, that's still an area. Obviously, the focus is on the illegal drugs. So now that this is legal and enforcement is relaxed around it, I think you have people trying to position themselves that if there are licenses that are given out, whether or not, that remains to be, that comes to fruition. I think that's the expectation, that people are trying to position themselves so that they would be able to sell it legally at some point.
All right. Well, the Cannabis Control Board is taking forever in developing their regulations, but they are going to be coming to the municipalities, quote unquote, similar to the SLA for review of applications. So the municipality is, of course, Community Board 1 that they will be coming to with the dispensary applications. So I don't know where that's going to end up. Which committee is going to have that fun and games, but keep track of those places that may be selling illegally, so that when they start lining up at the door to get their dispensary license, we have a history of.
Yeah, absolutely. No, we have a whole, we've created a list of these places and who we've done outreach to. We wanted to explain to many of these people, they may hear that marijuana is legal, some of these owners and operators, and think that it's legal for them to sell. So we had to make it clear that it's not legal at this point. And that was part of the outreach as well. We also recently, we've had some inquiries concerning the psychedelic mushrooms and sales of psychedelic mushrooms. We've seen at the Greenpoint Market, I guess there was a vendor selling. So my understanding is there was legislation introduced in December to make these psychedelic mushrooms legal for the treatment of PTSD, anxiety, and depression. I guess John Hopkins has a study. So that legislation hasn't been passed, but I just wanted you to be aware of that as well.
Okay. A more mundane subject. How are our catalytic converters doing?
Right now we're okay, but it certainly is a big piece of the grand larceny crime problem throughout the city. From where I'm sitting, it kind of ebbs and flows. We'll have a rash of them, and then they'll abate for a few months, and then they'll increase again. We do have numerous persons of interest, again, who we've arrested numerous times. I don't know if we spoke about this, but part of the problem is that it's an unserialized part. They can get a decent amount of money for it. And at this point in time, it's not illegal for some, the shops can buy this they can, buy this part with really just an identification. There's no, the owners of these shops that are buying the part, there's no expectation that they have to really do any type of deep digging to see if this is that person was the owner of the part or not. So they get an ID. It could be a fake ID for all they know, and that's a big part of the problem as well. So on the back end, we're not having great success in getting problematic areas because we go to see their books and they have an ID and their obligation has been met under the law.
And since we're on the people who buy parts, can you tell me, if you can, about the location that's next to Staples? And they're using the Staples parking lot to store all their wrecked cars and their wreckers and tow trucks, and they're parked all over the street, and you take your life in your hand trying to come out of that parking lot. What's going on over there?
So we have, several of the businesses that work with car repair. We have 311s that surrounds many of these places on McGinnis Boulevard, the taxis and things like that. That particular location, I'm not aware that there's a big problem, but I'm certainly, we can go in and speak to the owners. We try to, obviously it's a balance. We want people to be able to do business in the city, spaces at a premium. So, we also want them to be respectful of the neighborhood and be good actors. In my experience, we generally have success when we go and speak to the owners, the managers, not just an employee there. We get it to the higher levels so that they understand the problem. But I'm happy to send Sergeant Frangatos, myself. We can go over.
It just seems it gets out of control sometimes, and it's like there's tow trucks and wrecked cars and oil being spilled, and it seems they took over the whole street and that parking lot. So it just
Yeah.
And another question of public use of public land for businesses. I get it. There's not a lot of space in the universe, but the Sergeant, whatever it is, park by the ramp to the BQE, is that yours?
Yes, the Sergeant William Doherty Park over there.
Yes. The
Yes.
charter buses parked in the traffic lane. There's a charter company who stores 6 charter buses, and there's no parking lane. They park right in the traffic lane, and to go onto Cherry Street, you have to drive on the Gore Point.
I will take a look over there. We actually had a police involved shooting around that area not that long ago, and I didn't see what you're talking about, but we'll take a look. And we also have had success over by Maspeth Avenue. It's like a bus graveyard, and when we reach out to the owners and let them know it's a problem, generally it gets corrected fairly quickly. So
I get there's lots of buses parked along streets in Williamsburg, but this is like in the traffic lane. It's like not a there's no parking lane there. There's a traffic lane. They're parked right in it, and it's the Gore Point becomes the road. So it's just
we have
a little extreme.
Jerry reaches out direct a lot of times, and we have a lot of community complaints. So anything that we can get towed, and we do get towed, but let me get back to you on this, and we'll see if we can get them out of the traffic lane.
Other committee members have questions for Inspector Fay regarding the 9-4 territory? I think most of you live in the 9-0, yes? Lisa, you live in the 9-4.
I'm in the 9-4, yes.
They're nuts. But I got
No, we're good.
over there to say,
I hear him. Oh my God. All right. Any other committee people have questions for the inspector? Gina, do you want to ask about budget items?
Well, I would,
What was the question again? I'm sorry.
oh,
Gina's coming to us with capital budget issues. So I figured the precincts can, if there's a wall falling down, the roof is collapsing, the windows all fell out. We don't know what's going on over there. So Gina's soliciting capital budget needs.
so I would like to hear from the precinct. And
Yeah, off the top of my head, I don't have anything, obviously more cameras. ID quality cameras are very helpful.
So you're speaking of security cameras for locations or the building?
No, for the building, we have cameras all throughout the precinct and around outside. I'm talking more, in problematic areas. We can, definitely probably use some, again, like Manhattan Avenue where we've had increase in robberies, like ID quality. You get to, when we go to investigate a lot of these crimes, we get, the cameras for the businesses aren't working. The best cameras sometimes we have are the city cameras and the ones that are installed, that we can make sure they're working. A lot of times we're at the mercy of the particular businesses that may or may not have the security cameras functioning.
You mean like Squid Game cameras? Like,
Yeah, that would be great.
do we have any in the 9-4?
Yeah, we do have Argus cameras, sure, like by Cooper Park and, but obviously, historically, luckily, the 9-4 hasn't been a big driver of crime. So, the cameras are placed where there's a higher need.
Okay, well, keep us posted. I mean, if there's something, let us know. All right.
Yeah, I'll definitely get back to you. But even when you talk about cameras, it's not just for the most violent crimes. When we have leaving the scene, anything that we can, even some of the lower level crime that people get hurt and leaving the scene, accidents and things like that, they can be very helpful.
Was there some kind of a sex crime on the corner of Graham and Metropolitan this afternoon? Inspector? Because Special Victims was in the corner store there. Special Victims was in there. It's like, were they just going for lunch or were they investigating?
I am not aware of any crime that happened. They could have been following up on a previous crime. We did have a crime that occurred in the subway last week.
I think, I suspect it was related to the subway because they were right at the top of the subway stairs.
So they could have been doing, per the investigation, we had a woman that was assaulted on the train. So, I can get you more details if you need it, but I would imagine they were doing a follow-up investigation, camera canvas, maybe for the perpetrator.
Okay. All right. Let's move on. The next two show. Anybody else have anything for Inspector Fay? Okay, so now PSA 3, Lieutenant Amanda and 2 NCOs were with us. Who wants to give us an update overview and whatever? I see you're still there, but are you not listening?
Hey, Lieutenant Amanda, can you repeat
Hi.
that?
Yes. Oh, okay. So we inquired regarding what's new and exciting in PSA 3, what's the crime situation, and then again, we're looking to what kind of capital needs there are. You just heard what Inspector Fay talked about, Argus cameras, things like that. So if you could let us know what's happening in PSA 3, and then committee members might have questions, and then if there's capital budget needs, your office building, your headquarters is falling down. You know,
No, that so far is good. I mean, if we can get some light towers or something like that, but that might be more of an NYPD issue than from you guys.
give us an update.
It's so far we're doing okay as far as the violence and everything is concerned. There's not much going on right now. We helped close out a burglary pattern. I mean, we're trying to attack quality of life now. That's the big thing with the drinking and the music playing and all that. But other than that, I mean, is
Well, we
P.O.
went
Raymond?
through a lot of shootings last year. How are we up to, January to June? How are
We're doing very well with shootings. I don't want to jinx it, but so far, I mean, the last 2 months, I don't believe we only had the one was like self-inflicted with a friend, and the other one we arrested the guy as soon as he did the shooting. We arrested him with the firearm.
okay?
But yeah, other than that, we're doing okay. I don't want to jinx it, but yeah.
What kind of intervention are you doing? I mean, who are you working with to work with the young people, stuff like that?
Well, we got the NCOs and the YCOs. Actually, they're both working on stuff with the kids, and now we're actually. I think next week they're gonna do a active shooter plan with the community centers, just in case for the children. Same thing, you know what happened in Texas, so that's where they're going with that.
So you're doing like an active shooter in the different housing developments?
Yes, for the community centers and the children's center.
Okay. And then what is it? The WIC? Does the WIC work with Bushwick houses?
I believe so. Yes, I gotta get the exact address, but yeah.
Well, that's where the action was in the past. So, and I know they're going to be doing a bunch of. Aren't they doing renovations or something at the Williamsburg houses? Has that been any concern?
Not that I know of. I gotta speak. I mean, is Pio Ramos still here? Do you show them still here or no?
I see Aslam Ramos was here. Yeah, 7 and 6 are both here.
Yeah, they should know individually better because I cover 5 precincts. I try to.
Hi,
So,
how you doing? Sorry, Officer Oslam. As far as the renovation of the Williamsburg houses going, we are getting excessive complaints of kids going into the buildings with marijuana use. So we're addressing that problem along with the YCOs, just doing more directed and interior patrols. And last time I was out there, when we did stop someone for smoking weed, is 17, 18-year-old kids coming over from the high school, 16, 17, 18, and contacted the parents and stuff. So we're just working on focusing on actually just addressing the problem by reaching out to the parents and just talking to the kids as well for that. That's
are
our
they coming
issue right
from
now.
Grant Street campus?
Yes.
So, did you talk to Tommy Torres over there? Is he?
I actually
He always
met with
claims he's the
Tommy
great
Torres.
leader of crime fighting. So,
Yeah, he told me he's setting up some basketball league too. That's what we're working on as well. Just trying to reach to these kids at an earlier age before they get to that stage where they're involved in drug use. So that's one way we're intervening in their lives. Is just we're starting up a basketball league in July where we're targeting fifth, sixth, seventh, and eighth graders, and we're going to be coaching them, just basically having the tournaments and guiding them throughout life as well.
and do you work with Grant Street Settlement at the Williamsburg Community Center?
Yes, yes, we've actually been going there too, covering the tournaments there as well, and various events.
And both you and let's see, Ramos, you're got the whole territory, or like which?
No, me and my partner's Officer Ahmed. He's covering transit today, but me and him, we cover the Williamsburg and Bushwick houses, and Officer
Okay.
Ramos is over down in Taylor, Wythe, and Independence.
Okay. Ramos, anything happening in your neck of the woods?
Good afternoon. This is Officer Ramos. So I basically cover Independence, Taylor White, Williams Plaza, and the Berry Street houses. As of right now, aside from a sporadic barbecuing going on at separate locations, everything is good. Construction is done in all 3 developments because they're also managed by third-party companies. Um, aside from that, everything else is it's good, thank God.
Now I'll get to this when we wrap it up, but I assume you guys do stuff for National Night Out like the 2 precincts do?
We don't, no.
Okay, it's just the precincts
So
do.
our developments, our community centers are run by El Puente.
Oh, great. Okay.
Yeah. So we do like they have events. I think it's every Friday. Now being that the summer is here and the kids are out of school, I'm not 100% sure exactly what they're gonna do, but we used to do every Friday we take the kids to rock climbing.
Oh, the one in the bank, the Dime Savings Bank building, or?
Right. Yeah.
And Maria's like, how does he know where these places are? All right. You guys got any capital needs? More light towers. That's what you said. Light towers.
Right. We do need more light towers.
Gina, do you know what light towers are? They have a little crank on the side and they crank up the lights and they go up high.
Oh, okay.
They help in those high crime areas. They can put the light towers up and they blind you as you're driving by, but they make it easier to see what's going on in the areas at night. And they on little trailers and they drag them around.
Okay, good.
So
All right,
it
good.
seems like-
We need it. We need more cameras and more light towers because we feel like there needs to be it.
I'm sure our public won't like that idea because, like I said, they're like Squid Game cameras. But you know, I've got Argos cameras all around the building I work in Jamaica. So you know, like Jamaica Avenue must have an Argos on every corner. So, any committee members have questions for the PSA police officers? I see a hand raised. Maria.
Yeah, thanks, Tom. And thank you, officers. So for particularly PSA, are the developments planning the Family Day events this year? Because I mean, I think last year they took place, but there was a year that they were suspending them due to the hike in crime. Are you anticipating that those are going to happen this year? And if so, around the same time? I think it's what, in August, July, August? Can't remember. I'm blaming
Officer
everything. on
Aslam,
COVID. Brain-
yes, we're going to be hosting Family National Night Out as well in Bushwick Houses in August, and Family Days are going to start up as well. I know the paperwork is still in the process. We don't have exact dates for each development at the time, but once we do, we'll relay the information out.
Okay, great.
Yeah, if there's events, get them to the community board, and then they'll send it to me, and I'll get it out to my committee members, and they can let their various people know about it. Because you know everything we're doing is virtual, so we're not in a meeting space to hand it out. So we try and, if you email it to the board office, they'll get it to us, and we'll try and get it out to whomever we can get it to.
Definitely will do.
Okay. So then we got, okay, so everybody good with PSA 3 right now? All right, nod your heads. Now, 90th precinct. Captain Werner is up.
Hi, Mr. Burrows. How are you?
I'm good.
It's very nice to meet everybody. I work with, as you guys know, Deputy Inspector Mark Vasquez. I'm the executive officer there. I've been there about 10 months. And I'll just take you through a couple things going on in 9-0. So year to date, we're seeing an increase in total index crime of 41%. That's definitely due to, you know, things are opened up now. Nightlife is in full-fledged. Driving those numbers is grand larcenies. A lot of those grand larcenies wind up being from unattendeds. People are going out to these nightlife locations. They're leaving their bag on their chair. They're going to the bathroom. When they return, their phone's missing or their items are missing. We're also seeing a lot of thefts of bicycles and property of that nature. A lot of that comes from just city bikes or other types of bicycles just left along the sidewalks unattended. Nightlife locations, recently we've had 2 incidents where we did SLAs. 600 Metropolitan was an unattended bag. It was the exact story I just mentioned. Female goes to the bathroom, leaves their bag, comes back, items are missing. And the other location is 17 Meadows, a place called Paper Box. That was more of a 311 complaints, loud music. We see that a lot in the 90. So we responded. We tried to kind of mitigate the situation without having to shut the place down. We saw a security guard that was drinking alcohol. We asked that security guard for his security guard license. He became hostile, refused to give it to us. And unfortunately, when we went to issue him a summons, he was uncooperative and he fought with us. So we wound up, a sergeant got hurt in that, unfortunately, but we wound up making an arrest out of that location. As far as violence goes, for the year, we've had 4 non-fatal shootings. But outstanding, just outstanding work by the public safety teams in the 90. They had 52 gun arrests for the year. Up until recently, I believe they were number 3 in the borough, next to the 7-3 and 7-5, which is some very heavy violent commands. I think we might be number 4 now in the borough. But that's just great work. We have 2 public safety teams that we deploy. One does 8 to 4:30 in the morning with Monday and Tuesday off, so it's weekend coverage. The other team does a 1 to 9:30, so they're all Saturday, Sunday. And between the 2 teams and our NCO teams, they're just out there doing a good job with violence. Some of these grand larcenies that we've had, a lot of the unattendeds come from cars and from persons as well. What we try to do is we try to get it out to the community the best that we can possibly get it out to them, not to leave their stuff around, not to leave stuff in vehicles. And you know, we're going to continue to work on that. The big problem we have in the 90 with vehicles, we have a lot of vehicles that do drag racing down by Domino Park in the south side, in Sector Adam, and by Metropolitan and Vandervoort in Sector David. What we try to do joint operations with Highway, with our NCO teams, but it's very difficult because obviously we're concerned about the safety of the motorists, we're concerned about the safety of any pedestrians in the area, but it's an ongoing issue that we have. Last year, we did an outstanding job with seizures of some of these illegal scooters and illegal motorcycles. We had 141 seizures last year. This year so far, we're at 44. So we're on track to do just as well as last year, maybe even better, but it's something we're certainly going to keep up with. Aside from that, you know, with our nightlife, we focus a lot on Sector David areas and our Sector Adam areas for because we get a lot of community complaints that come from our nightlife. So that's very big for us. And then Sector Charlie, Bushwick houses, we see a little bit more of our violence. We do a lot of deployment in that area as well.
So, Captain Joe, I think you're echoing me. Some of us on this committee who don't have a life also are on the SLA review committee.
Okay.
And I try to every month send the list of new and renew licenses to community affairs and the inspector for you to go through and let us know what the problem spots are, so that we can, you know, the owners have to come and meet with us and we can confront them about what it is that's going on. You know, and we've been doing this for a long time, trying to get the big clubs to somehow fill the void that the city is left of this random large clubs opening in one area, but nobody's ever made a plan for a nightlife district. So they're fixing their own stop signs, they're fixing their own street lights, they're patching their sidewalks. You guys have to go over and work out with their security team. But the SLA committee is a hard-working committee. If there's people not working with you, just let us know, because the SLA knows that we are really fair, but we will go after people when they're being assholes. And the SLA will say to them, you need to get the community board on your side if you're not doing what they like to do. And we've always had a great relation with the Lino, where we get a community complaint, the community affairs goes over, talks to them, they ignore them, then somebody else goes over. Then there's the whole issue of a March operation. We try to do this stepwise, but we're always willing to work with you because we get that there's nightlife, but we'd like it to be safe. The tourists want to go there and they come out alive.
Yeah, no, we've definitely had we've had that experience with anything with SLA. You know, I don't know of any issues. I know that me and Deputy Inspector Vasquez speak about it, and we sit down with Kenny Melendez and Kenny Dubois from Community Affairs, who, you know, the two are hardworking. They are excellent. They do have the phone number and contact information of the majority of these nightlife owners. They form very good relationships with them. So a lot of times our issues we work hand in hand with the bar owners, and we've seen great success with that. Any locations that want to become problematic, we're absolutely gonna pass that information along to the SLA team and let you guys know.
And they need to understand that, stealing one phone is a felony larceny because of the value of the phone. You know, and people hanging their purse on the back of the stool when you go to the ladies' room and somebody just breezes by and takes a phone. There's a felony larceny in your bar.
Yep.
You get 3 of them, a flag goes up, and you guys go.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yep. And we have credit card thefts as well. So the credit cards really drive us with thefts from bags. So cell phones, credit cards. From an investigative standpoint, the credit cards can be useful. If they don't cancel the credit card, we can maybe track them a little bit. You know, I don't know how much success we've had with it because people, you know, their first reaction is they cancel the cards right away. But yeah, and tracking cell phones. We had a pickpocket crew that was working out of one of the nightlife locations, and the cops went in. They did some operations where they dressed in plain clothes and they kind of mingled in with the crowd. We were able to identify that team and place a few of them under arrest. So that helps us a lot.
Okay, anybody in the committee have questions for the 9-0? Gina? Reed?
I think that
Maria, you're muted.
I'm unmuted.
No, Gina, you're unmuted, but Maria's now muted. I don't hear anything. Go ahead, Gina.
No, I think you're very. I've attended community affairs Melendez and with the community. Community concern. I have not quite seen any complaints of cars and other concerns that. Pretty good.
You're muted, Tom.
Trying to figure out where that echo's coming from. 9-0. Any budget things you're not getting?
Not that I know of. I mean, listen, we could always use more money, obviously. But to my knowledge, no. I mean, I can certainly confer with Deputy Inspector Vasquez just to double check.
Okay.
And we can reach back out to you, but not that I'm aware of.
Okay. Very good. Bozina, were you here when Inspector Fahey was here? Bozina Kaminsky. Okay. Where'd she go? All right. Thank you. So let's hear from the fire department. Sandra Sanchez.
Hello. Good evening, everyone. Sandra Sanchez, FDNY Community Affairs. Just want to share with you our summer fire safety tips. We'll begin with the fun one as the weather, the warm weather is upon us. Should you want a sprinkler cap, you can go to your nearest firehouse station and I would say about a week and a half, 2 weeks in advance, and request one. You have to be 18 or older, have some form of picture ID, and we will be able to, once you provide us with a location, start time, end time, we will then be able to actually come to your block party and install the sprinkler cap and then come back and grab the sprinkler cap. We no longer distribute the sprinkler cap and leave it to the neighbor's whim to kind of figure it out and not seal back that hydrant as it should be. Also want to bring to your attention, as again, warmer weather, we have just seen a rash of overheated extension cords. In the winter, it's because of space heaters. In the summer, it is because of air conditioners. We want to remind everyone, it's anything, no matter what the manufacturer says, anything that is heating or cooling, one is not meant to run 24/7. No appliance is meant to be operational 24/7 with heating and cooling. So we remind everyone to take some time to certainly turn it off if you are not home. I know you want to walk in to a cool home, but to turn that off, give it a rest, and also to plug it directly into the wall and not into an extension cord because of the amount of power that it draws out. If you're even to touch the extension cord, it would be hot to the touch after those appliances are left running for a long time. Thirdly, fireworks continue to be illegal in NYC. I say this because I know that my ears tell me something different at night. But in the past, the mayor did have a illegal task force for fireworks. I'm not sure it is not, I'm not sure if we will be having a legal task force this year, but nevertheless, our marshals continue to work and to investigate. If you believe that you have a neighbor that their part-time job may be selling fireworks, most definitely we ask that you call 311, number one, to complain about the fireworks, because this allows, 311 is a great tracking system and allows us city agencies to know what are the issues that are affecting the quality of life of all our neighbors. And number two, it will alert our marshals if you made a complaint that, you know, there's storage, and you believe that it's a safe haven for all things fireworks. Lastly, lithium-ion batteries. That has just been a new cause of fire within the fire department. Between last year and these 6 months of this year, the lithium-ion battery fires have doubled just with the 6 months of all of last year. So we want to keep in mind that lithium ion batteries, just like any other appliance, are not meant to be charging 24/7. Also, while these batteries are charging, and we're saying lithium ion batteries, even our phones have lithium ion batteries, laptops have lithium ion batteries, things that we use every single day. But we're thinking more of what we've been seeing is more of the e-bikes and scooters. And we recommend everyone only use the charging cord that came with the actual appliance. In the world, in the Amazon Prime world that we live in, it's very easy to get a cheaper offshoot of the actual charging cord. And the reason why it's cheaper is because the actual copper wiring that is in it is not the same. And we do not want you to put yourself, people that may be in your home, at risk, in in some cases, your entire building or your residence where you live. I'm going to share with you now the statistics for the fires that have occurred in the confines of I was about to say Manhattan, Brooklyn Community Board 1 for the month of May. So for structural fires, there were 43 in the month of May. Non-structural, 46. Medical emergencies, 658. For non-medical emergencies, 547, bringing the grand total of incidents that occurred in the confines of Brooklyn Community Board 1 in the month of May to be 1,299. To put that in perspective, the entire borough of Brooklyn had 15,419 incidents throughout the confines of the community, within all of the entirety of Brooklyn. We do have some budget requests. We did have funding requests to the council members that cover your jurisdiction. Allow me just to pull that up on my screen, and I'll just go by firehouses because it's easier for us on our end. So Battalion 35, Engine 216, Ladder 108, that's housed at 187 Union Street. We made a capital request for roof repair, and that comes in at about 1.2 million for the entire project.
Sandra, I'm never going to be able to get all this written down. Neither is Gina.
Fret not. I know I'm at New York City speed. I will send this in the email.
So I was going to say, if you have flyers on those 4 areas
Yes.
that you mentioned, and then the budget list, so then we can look at it and share it with each other and like discuss it. Because right now I'd be overwhelmed by
Well, you don't have meetings often, so I've compiled all the
I know.
stuff together. But that's not a problem. I most certainly can email it if you can share in the chat, because I don't believe that I have your direct email. If you can share,
no, but you're not getting my direct.
Oh, okay. Then as long as you don't mind it going
Send it
through
to
the
Brooklyn, the community board, but say you want it to go to the public safety committee, and
If
don't
you're
worry,
fine with
the
that, that's
email will
fine.
come to me. Let me tell you, and Gina, and yeah, we'll get it. They'll
Okay,
send it
that's
to the
not a
whole
problem.
committee.
I will bring it to your attention, and thank you for having me.
There's only 2 staff people in the community board office, so if they can route emails out to us, they go right out.
Will do.
But the local firehouses, if you could make it clear to them that if there's issues that they want to talk to us about on the sly, we used to have a firefighter from the house over here who was a non-board member of the committee, and he was really good letting us know, like, boots on the ground, what's going on with the fire department and EMT and stuff like that. He wasn't giving away secrets. He just sort of gave us a flavor of what was happening, like when they were putting in the open, the neck downs. They were doing the neck downs on a lot of streets, and those crazy little, here's a park bench and you can move it when the fire truck comes through, and he would give us like, no, that doesn't happen. The fire truck's not going through. If it's going to go through, the bench is going with it.
And that is needed. So with everything that has happened with New York City streets during the pandemic, DOT and ourselves have become I would say we have a more intimate relationship.
I was going to say
certainly certainly what you have shared within the confines of Community Board 1 is all over the city, and I'm sure we want to get to you as quickly as possible, and I'm sure whomever has called us wants us to be there as quickly as possible. But we're very mindful of that, and now we're talking. But prior to open streets being approved, and trust me when I say this, every week in the summer there's like an updated meeting that I have to be on about open streets and making sure that the firehouses, EMS stations in the area have have seen what it looks like in real life, in real time. I say that because DOT, in true fashion, operates under the premise that every New York City, every New York City resident abides by New York City law. And if that were true, double parking would be a figment of our imagination, and we'd read about it in books. But that is not the case. So in real time, and also if there's anything that you may see that you want to bring to our attention, it's certainly a two-way street, and we welcome that conversation.
All right. All right. Well, Sandra, when you send us the budget list, send us your contact information, because I know Gino want to say, what? Huh? What? How much you want? You really need that roof? What's like, how big a hole is it?
So our firehouses, average, we're up there. We have firehouses that are over 100 years old. So
we're still missing a firehouse on the west side. We built all those towers on the waterfront, and we never got our firehouse back. So I don't know. You ever going to plan one? We got like 30,000 residents on the waterfront. We never got a new firehouse. So
you have included that in the budget every single year. I would not deter you to not include it again in this one.
We're gonna have a beach though. We're gonna throw hose in the beach.
That's priority number one on the budget list, so it's there.
All right. Anybody? Oh wait, Bozina, you raised your hand. Bozina, I see your hand up. Bozina.
Hi Tom. I have a problem with connection. I have heard you, everybody that spoke, but I don't see myself, and
I see you.
You can see me, because I was not able to speak when you called me.
Now you're there, and your hand, when you raised your hand, it came like a big floating hand, and it was very obvious to me that your hand went up.
Okay, I just want to make sure that you see me. Okay, sorry about that.
But I was wondering if you had any questions for Inspector Fay, because
No.
Don't you belong to the 100 Polish presidents?
Yes, actually, she pointed out all those things which are our concern, and I'm also very happy that those homeless people on Greenpoint Avenue, that is being dealt with. It's not as difficult as it was during the winter time. So maybe they change locations, but
Maria, I need my apartment swept.
That's my son. That only happens once or twice a year. I got to take it.
Sorry, Bozina. Sorry, Bozina. Sorry. Oh, there's your hand again. Sorry. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm lowering my hand.
I like the way
I just want to credit, Mayor Adams, really, his push with cleaning up the homeless. Obviously we had particular challenges in the 9-4. We have a very activist community surrounding the homeless community and helping them. But it really was an unsafe condition. So, you really can thank the mayor for prioritizing that, for giving us the full support that we needed to hopefully move these individuals closer to some stability so that they can get assistance. So thank you, Bozina. And, we continue, the cleanups happen weekly. We actually have another one tomorrow. And, we have continued attention on that.
Okay, so all of my public safety employees of the city of New York, just so you know, the committee that this group is on is the catch-all for everything. It's called Public Safety and Human Services, NYPD, FDNY, Shelter, Social Services, Aging, Disability, Health. So you could bring all those issues to this committee as well if they come up. Okay. And I think I missed a few, like hospitals, and it's all wrapped up in this big bag somehow. So we're hopefully getting it under control. So how are our I haven't seen a CAB meeting in 100 years at either the family shelter or the men's assessment center. Have anybody from the precinct been invited to those CAB meetings?
No, we haven't.
Yeah, because the last time I was able to get on top of it, they had names from the precinct that no longer work in the precinct anymore. And I don't know, Captain Joe, whether there's a number of shelters in the 9-0 also. Are there any CAB meetings that you guys have been going to?
Yeah, not that I'm aware of. I know we have a few shelters. We have a couple that are private, some that are city owned. But no, not to my knowledge.
All right. Well, if there's any ever issues, Erin Drinkwater is a member of our community board, and she worked at HSA for a long time, so she's very informed on the ins and outs of whatever's going on. She doesn't do it anymore, but she was doing it for a while. So we can be helpful. That'd be great. Okay, committee, anybody have any more questions for the police or the fire department? Because the other thing I had was for us to try and figure out our schedule for the year and how we might divide up the work and what issues we want to focus on, things like that. So anybody have anything else for police and fire? Because then we can excuse them to go back to protect us. Oh my God, turn on your microphone. Maria. Maria, turn your microphone on. Maria? I saw your mouth going. I don't hear you. Does anybody else hear Maria? Maria, can your son fix your computer? Gina, do you need anything else?
No, it's good.
Gina, how are things in your neck of the woods? How's trailers and security and street closing and stuff like that? How's it all going?
This is on Gina Argento or
Yeah, Gina Argento, because
Gina Argento.
I know she's there. Because Maria's still trying to get her microphone to work. She wants to say something, but she can't. All right, I think we've done it with the police and fire. I thank you all for coming. We're going to try and work out a regular schedule. We used to try to do them quarterly. And maybe I'll get brave. Maybe you'll go outside for your meeting, so I won't be surrounded by a room full of people without masks on. And come back to precinct council, but let us know what the precinct council is bringing up too. If there's anything that comes up at precinct council meetings that you think the community board should be aware of, let us know. You know, because we got our transportation committee, you know, Eric Brizadas is on top of a lot of the transportation issues, and we're trying to keep on top of the safety issues and shelter issues and things like that. So always let us know so we can, you know, get the board to support you. And let us know the problem bars and entertainment venues so we can speak to them. We work with the bar. We try to get the bar owners to talk to bar owners first, saying, you know, you screw up, you're going to screw it up for the rest of us. So, you know, clean up your act. And then if they come see us, we'll say, you don't clean up your act, we're going to tell the SLA to not give you a license. So feel free to just let us know, okay?
You know I have you on speed dial, Tom.
I had the most interesting people on my speed dial. Today, all day long, Esperanza was getting, because, you know, I on my other hat is to deal with the kids that you guys arrest. And I'm the one who's like getting them to be released. So up there she is, Gina Argento. I see
Hi,
your
Tom.
face.
Having issues with the audio. I just want to thank you for all your hard work with keeping us all safe. Thank you for bringing everyone together.
Do you have any questions for any of the fire, the police, or any concerns or notable things we should buy them, gifts, light
Nothing.
poles?
Nothing today.
I know you want to have a gated street for your studio complex, but that's not on my. I can't do that.
I do that.
I want to put that arch over it that says your name on it. So
I'm going to put your name at the bottom of it.
the rocks to be thrown at. All right, everybody's good? Gina Barros, you got any?
I'm fine. It's good.
All right.
It was a good presentation.
And Maria, we're giving up on you. Your microphone doesn't work.
I lost audio for a minute. I had to jump out and come back in.
All right. So did you have anything you needed to ask the police or the fire department?
No, not necessarily. You asked my question. You know, my husband's catalytic converter was stolen 2 weeks ago. On white thing. I'm laughing, but you asked the question. You know, I
All
mean,
right.
what's going on? But I got the answer.
I try to anticipate.
And that was in the 9-0, not the 9-4.
I will tell you, Autocrime, we work with Autocrime. They have a program where they do etching. They've given us some kits so that we can etch a serial number onto your catalytic converter. So if you want to set that up, you know, they were limited. That might be a funding item, but I can check with Autocrime. Basically, it burns a serial number onto the part, and then you register the part with the database. Another problem we have with it, real quick, is that we might come upon somebody that has 3 of these on the street. You know, we stop them, they look suspicious. In the middle of the night, we don't know who this belongs to, right? So we don't have a complainant, really. It's kind of like a victimless crime. So what this etching does then, it gives us a name at a database that we can see who belongs to this part, even if it's 3 a.m. So now we have probable cause to make the arrest because we know he's not the owner. We have a contact information for the owner. So I do have some kits, you know, we might have like 10 left because the NCOs were etching some of these parts. But I know when I spoke to the detective in Autocrime, there weren't, you know, they weren't flushed with these kits. This was something that he got from going to a conference in Germany where they're also having this problem. It's like a international problem. So if we can get more kits, you know, I did speak with Assembly Member Gallagher about asking for legislation to have this part serialized. So while we're waiting on that, you know, it gives you a sticker that you can put in the window that hopefully the criminal will say, I'll move on to one that may not be serialized. You know, so we can maybe, I'll see how many we have on hand, but if that's something, you know, we could even get funding for, that might be an item you want to consider.
Great. Okay. Everything's popping. All right.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, my public safety people. I just want to meet with my committee and any public members right now to figure out where we're going to go forward.
Thanks very much and have a good night, everybody.
The 9-0 is still meeting the second Wednesday of the night. The 9-4 is still the first Wednesday of the night. And PSA 3 is also the first Wednesday of the month. Lieutenant? NCOs? Lieutenant Demanda?
Yes, sir. Say it again.
The community, your precinct council meetings, like the 9-4 is the first Wednesday of the month, the 9-0 is the second Wednesday of the month. I think you guys were one of the Wednesdays overlapping one of the precincts. So what is your monthly community council, precinct council meeting?
I'm gonna put you with Islam. Hold on one
It's
second.
first Wednesday of each month.
Right. And you're still doing them virtual like at 5?
Yes.
Because I used to be able to go to 2 at once because they were both virtual. Okay. All right. So I'll make a note of that. Okay. Thanks. Thank you, everybody.
Thank
All
you.
right,
Have a
committee,
good night.
don't leave committee. All right, committee.
Good night. Nice to meet you guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Committee, we're supposed to do 4 meetings a year, but with COVID, we sort of didn't succeed. And the 4th meeting I had scheduled last year, suddenly a month before, since I had booked them a year in advance, I was told it was a Jewish holiday and we couldn't have it. And I was so frustrated with the calendar, I just said, can't deal with this. So is there a night of the week that's better for people or worse for people? Like I said, there's 16 people on this committee, and I'm suspecting that there's going to be more added or changes with the new committee assignments. Oh, we just lost everybody. It's just Gina and Rosina and Maria. And okay, well, we'll decide for everyone else.
That happened. Tom, this night works for me if you want to make it like a quarterly or whatever, however you want to do it, standing meeting.
Yeah, because I've made that the SLA committee is always the 4th Tuesday of the month. Except one month, September, which is always a challenge because there's a million Jewish holidays in September, so it gets moved. But the second Tuesday of the month, other than this one, for some reason or other, has been the community board meeting. But this month we moved because we were trying to avoid going public, I think. So do you think Tuesdays are a better day if I get Tuesdays? Because I have to sit down with Joanna and go through the whole calendar thing.
Tuesday's good for me too.
And it would only,
Tuesday is
and
okay
this would
for
only
me.
be quarterly.
What,
These would only be quarterly.
it could work, it could work, I just don't know, I'm on other committees, like all
I
of us.
know. Well, I'll
It's
float, before I make it down stone, I'll float it past you. The other thing is, this committee's got shelter, social services, aging, disability, health, which I assume includes health and hospitals. There's a lot of stuff, and it would be, I would like to ask like committee members to own one of those areas, like to keep on top of it. So if there's, I'm going to send an email out saying, okay, what area would you want to own to keep aware of what the issues are, and if something has to come to the board, that we can discuss it at a meeting, because I have enough keeping on top of all those bar owners.
No, it's a lot.
And I try to make nice with the hospital, because I love the hospital. Are you on the advisory board or not?
Tom, that's a great question. They had me fill out the form last year. I submitted everything. I've been attending meetings every single, as if I were a board member. And not only that, they allow me to speak. And Jessica told me, well, actually, you're not officially. I'm like, are you,
Yeah, I
I'm
know,
not
that was like out of the blue, like you're not officially on the committee, but you're there all the time. I'm like, what?
And they allow me to speak during the,
Yeah.
not during public session. I'm saying regular committee. So I don't know. I don't know. It's Simon. It's Simon. Simon is the rep for CB1.
Okay. All right. He's the CB1 member of the hospital cab.
That's what I heard. I don't even know if he knows.
Well, maybe you can pin down the hospital and say, like, what's the story? Because like I'm sort of on the DYCD board, but I'm like, how did I get on it? Like, what does that mean? And like I'm supposed to know all these youth programs. I'm like, I just like the only person who'll go to a meeting. I don't know all these youth programs. It's like, how did I get on this thing? And I do these surveys and we do polling at the National Night Out. It just seems there's got to be people who like really want to do it, that would dig into the issues and say to us, we need to discuss this at a committee meeting and get a resolution.
As long as you have enough members, because it seems like it's like pulling teeth to get everyone to join a committee meeting.
Well, if I can I'm going to try and talk to Joanna about getting a regular schedule, because like I told you, it's 16 people were on the list and 2 went off the board. So we're now 14. And I'm sure when Dialis gets finished doing the committees, we're going to be 16 again. And they're going to have to come to a meeting and tell us what they're interested in. Like John here, John Rossmus. I think he's a member of the public who's interested in something.
FYI.
Huh?
I said I picked this committee again, FYI.
Okay. Yes, and I put on my thing, I'll chair it, but if somebody else wants it, please give it to them. So if somebody's really clamoring to be the chair, raise your hand.
No one like you. No one can do it like you, Tom.
Rosina, say us something wonderful. Tell us something wonderful.
Well, I think your idea of us taking a part of the item on the committee, it's a good idea. I'm supporting that. I think that would be very helpful, for the whole committee, so that and it's not going to be overwhelming for all of us. So that's a good idea.
Right, and when somebody calls me up and because like for a while, Gio, he would go because he would walk to school every morning under the BQE, So he was keeping an eye on the encampments and meeting
Mhm.
with the people about the encampments. And that way I didn't have to get up and go over there and see what was going on. He was able to do that. And also Lisa Beaumonte walked from her house on one side to the restaurant, and she could report on, so people who are where things are happening, your neck of the woods, Posina, you got the men's reception center and the,
Yes, and seniors also. I have two senior centers which are
right.
within walking distance where am I here. So, and I have a lot of bars too. So,
Yes, and are you a member of the mysterious, what I call the 100 Polish presidents?
100 Polish presidents? No.
That Arthur and Bogdan go
Oh,
to?
no,
It's
no, they
like some secret cabal of Polish men having meetings once a month and smoking their cigars and
oh yeah, no, no, no. But I know them. I know. I have to
Maria's
create
laughing
I
silently.
have to create a group of women,
Yes,
and we will have a glass of wine instead of cigar.
at one of the bars that opens up. Oh, the new one on Nassau Street, which is going to be a high-end wine bar,
Yeah, yeah.
And I don't know how that Louis place snuck in under the wire, whatever that Sloppy Louis or whatever it is on
Well,
McGinnis and
I'm
Nassau.
still thinking about the Polonaise. This is such a eyesore.
Oh, it is an eyesore. What are we
On
going to do with
Greenpoint
that?
Avenue. It's still, it doesn't look good, and it's right there by the subway. So that's really really awful. Site
How
for
do we let
us
these
as a
happen?
community.
Well, economic development should try and figure out what we can do with that, right?
Yeah.
Other than making it a movie studio.
Who's the owner? Or where's the owner?
I think there's a new owner. This property was sold, uh, I think, a few years ago, and they started to renovate it, did some sort of work. Then they stopped it, and then I think they doing it again. So we'll see.
The person who's, I believe the story was the person who sold it had really didn't understand the zoning for that site,
Yeah,
that he could sell it and it'd be something wonderfully monstrous could be built there, and it's not zoned for something
yeah,
monstrous.
yeah.
So he was hoping to get more money for it than he could, because what he thought could be, it's sort of like the guy on Graham Avenue with the old stone place. He thought he could build a monstrous building, and they're like, no, we're zoned to 6 stories here.
And you have a subway. You have a subway station, so you can build up, very high in this neighborhood because the subway train is going right there by the property.
Like but the guy with the stone place, he was close to, those weird lots that are along the BQE are outside of the low zoning because they're irregular lots and they're hard to use and hardship, blah, blah, blah. So they're building all those tall towers with people with windows overlooking the BQE. So the stone guy was like a block away, and he didn't get that. Yeah, one block made a big difference on zoning, and he was all ready to go and, oh, look, I can put a tower up. And like, no.
Mm.
So I think the Polonaise guy thought, oh, well, this is a big piece of property. They can put a tower here. I'll sell, nope. So you got to know all the land use rules,
Yeah, that's true.
And then the kids got that property for a while and made it a party space. So I'm sure to convert it now, it's a wreck.
Hmm.
So I don't know. So, all right, I will send an email out. I'm going to find out when the committees are going to be established. Once there's a new committee, then I'll send it out. And I'm going to talk to Joanna first and try and set dates for our, 4 meetings for the year, so we can sort of plan in advance and then pay attention to what's going on in the community. Mr. Rosmus, you're attending. Are you a public member? Like, I don't know you. I'm like, are you there? Hello? Anybody know who John Rosmus is? Because I was surprised that the person who is no longer here was attending our meeting, Roger Capucci. He said he was a public member of our committee. I never had him on my list, so I was like, so John, are you a public member of our committee? Are you hoping to be a public member of our committee, or like? John? Doesn't show your microphone shut off, so John? WebEx is killing off people right and left. Wow, John's on there 3 times and none of them are speaking. I don't know what's going on. John, you're gonna have to like send us a note or something. I don't know. Oh, there, I heard a noise. I heard a
Hello.
sound.
Hello, everyone.
John. Hi, John.
I just wanted to attend the meeting. I just wanted to, I wanted to get more of an engagement in my community, and I'm attending all the community board meetings. And
So you live in Board 1 or work in Board 1 or have an interest in Board 1?
yes, my family owns a business over here. We met once during the community council meeting pre-COVID. You probably don't remember me, but
I don't remember anything before COVID.
so
I had no life before COVID. It's gone.
yes.
So you're in the 9-4. You're over on the north side, I guess.
I'm in the 9-4. I attend all the community council meetings. I attended the last one before their summer break now, and so yeah, I'm trying to
I'm a
get.
chicken. I won't go into a room full of cops without masks on. So.
Well, they say that the vaccine works, so I don't know. I guess I had good luck so far, so I don't know what to tell you.
It's kind of a protest position for me because I work for legal aid, and it's like we all had to wear masks. How come you guys don't have to wear masks? It's like it's sort of like a position kind of thing. But
gotcha.
I'll get back there. And as you saw, Deputy Inspector Fay has no problem with texting me at all kinds of weird hours of the day and night. So
no, she's a very good person. I talk with her.
She lets me know. Well, this is our first meeting in a long time. We tried to do quarterly meetings and it sort of fell by the wayside. So I'm trying to get it going again. We just got new appointees on the community board, so they'll be forming new committee structure. But if you want to be a non-board member of a committee, after you investigate them all, you can then send a note to Chair Fuller to say, I'd like to be a non-board member of a committee, because then you can participate in our discussions when we're trying to get resolutions and stuff like that done. So, you're not necessarily on the community board, but you can come to the committee meetings and participate. As you see, I come with an SLA report to the community board meetings, and it's sort of all the work is done in the committee. So when we used to have a youth and education committee, Esteban Duran and I used to write up resolutions, vote them from, like the two of us would vote for them and take them to the full board. So a small group on a committee can get a lot of stuff moving. So if you see things that you think them might need community board action, just let us know. Okay.
Thank you very much. I'll take up on your offer. I attended one of the SLA meetings 2 months ago.
Brave soul you were.
I were. It was a very interesting start. Lots of arguing and people getting upset at each other. But
well, most of them were upset at me. Were you at the one where the guy left his microphone on while he was cursing me out for 20 minutes?
I don't know. Everybody was upset.
You would have remembered that one because we finished with him. And we moved on to the next person. He just kept cursing me out for like 20 minutes with his microphone on. And everybody's yelling at him, shut your microphone off. And he just kept going on and on and on.
Oh, I wish I attended that one. No, I was the one that complained about good
Is that
bar.
on YouTube? I gotta watch it.
Right, Gina? He just kept, like, he was cursing me out on the microphone. And everybody's like, stop.
Yeah. And then we had and then prior to that, we had those chats on the side, and we were getting by all the cursing that was going on in the chats.
And like, I'm just trying to read the applications, which are 34 pages long. So I'm not even seeing the faces. I'm just reading paperwork. And they're all yelling and screaming and hollering. And I'm like, line 1 says such as. And then somebody has the nerve to contact me and said, you should not allow that person to come to meetings anymore. I said, I have no idea who it was. I wasn't paying attention. Like, there's like 100 people on the screen. I don't know which one's yelling at me. They don't say, hi, this is Joe Schmo. I'm going to curse you out right now. Like,
Yeah, now that it's virtual, everybody comes. That's it's mob people, all the virtual world.
And then of course we get in trouble because we get a little carried away and we get corrected by the the teacher. You can't say that.
I'm looking forward to the next one on the 21st.
Yeah, well, Rob Solano is no longer on the community board. I relied upon him as my attendance taker and cat herder, and I don't know who's going to herd cats now for me because like I disappear into the paperwork, and I was like, Rob, you recognize the faces because you have been in every bar in Williamsburg, and you know who all the bartenders are. And like he's not on the board anymore, so I'm like, who knows these bars? Because I would just say to Rob, you know this bar. Oh yeah, I was there last week. Rob, you know, yeah.
He knew every bar there is. He was very good.
Yeah, but he's not on the board anymore. So I have to invite him as a special guest advisor on bars.
Maybe he could just continue on the committee.
Well, we'll have to see. I think his wife is going to have to, he got married now, so.
With children.
Yes, the son is cute. All right, thank you, everyone. I appreciate all of your work. We'll get this under control somehow. All right, but I think it was great to hear from all of our law enforcement people and what's going on and that we all work together. I wish the hospital will work on that. Oh, thank you. I love those when the hands come up. They come up like they go like this.
Oh, God.
Bozina, I love when you do that. The hand goes like, whee. All right, we're out of here.
Okay.
Good night,
bye.
everybody.